What if the moment you finally wake up to truth is also the moment you begin to feel completely alone? The strange part is, no one tells you that awakening, the thing meant to set you free, can quietly pull you away from everything that once felt like home. You start seeing clearly, but that clarity comes with distance. The familiar no longer feels safe, and what once brought comfort now feels foreign. Something deep inside begins to whisper that life will never look the same again. It isn't that the world has changed, it's that you have. The faces, the laughter, the conversations are all there, yet somehow they no longer reach you. There's a new frequency running through your soul, and suddenly, the noise of everyday life feels too loud, too shallow. You're not withdrawing out of pride. You're evolving beyond the old rhythm, and the silence between words grows louder than words themselves. Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychologist, understood this hidden ache long before it was spoken of. He called it individuation, the process of becoming whole, the painful birth of your true self. It sounds divine, but it carries a shadow, the quiet loss of belonging. You start realizing how much of your life was built around the mask you wore to be accepted, the persona Jung described. And when that mask begins to crack, relationships built around it start to tremble too. You find yourself at dinner tables where stories repeat, where people gossip, complain, plan, and laugh, yet something feels hollow. You nod, you smile, but inside, you drift far away. It's not that you've stopped caring. It's that you no longer resonate with what's false. This is the secret no one tells you. Awakening can make you feel lonelier before it makes you free. But it's not isolation, it's transformation. You're not losing connection, you're losing illusion. Before we uncover why this separation happens and how Jung's timeless wisdom explains it, take a moment to subscribe to SYC Soul. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next part of this journey, and share this with someone who might need to hear these words. Because what you're feeling isn't madness, it's awakening in motion. The deeper this awakening moves within you, the more you start noticing what was once invisible. You sit among people you've known for years, yet something feels different. Their words sound familiar, but the energy beneath them feels off, like echoes from a world you no longer live in. You're not trying to judge, yet everything ordinary begins to feel strangely artificial. Carl Jung described this shift through the idea of the persona, the mask we all wear to survive. It's not deception, it's adaptation. The persona is who we think we need to be in order to belong, to stay loved, safe, and understood. At work, with family, even among friends, we put on this subtle mask without realizing it. For a time, it protects us. It helps us fit in. But awakening begins when that mask starts to crack. When something inside you whispers, "There's more than this," that whisper doesn't go away. It grows. You start questioning your automatic yeses, your forced smiles, your polite silences. You notice that much of what you once called connection was built around the role you played, not who you truly are. And when the mask slips away, many connections can't survive the honesty that follows. This is why you feel drained. It's not that people are toxic. It's that your nervous system is still wired to act from your old self. You walk into a room and instinctively shrink, please, or agree just to avoid friction. Yet your soul, now awake, refuses to cooperate with pretense. The conflict between your conditioning and your new consciousness is what exhausts you. It's not their energy that burns you, it's your resistance to being false again. But remember this, awakening isn't about running away from people. It's about learning to stand in your truth without losing your compassion. You're not meant to isolate. You're meant to integrate, to connect again, but differently this time. If this resonates with you, tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching this from? And if you feel this truth in your bones, admire my work with a like, and let's keep going deeper together. Because now, we step into one of Jung's most profound revelations, The shadow, the unseen world within. You that holds the key to your fatigue, your fears, and your freedom. The shadow, Carl Jung's most haunting and liberating idea, isn't darkness as people imagine it. It's not evil. It's the unseen, the unacknowledged, the forgotten parts of yourself that were never given light. The shadow holds every emotion you've suppressed, every impulse you've judged, and even the power you were too afraid to claim. It's not the enemy of awakening, it's the key to it. When your awareness expands, you begin to see this shadow clearly, not just in yourself, but in everyone around you. Suddenly, conversations that once felt simple begin to vibrate with hidden meanings. You can sense tension under laughter, fear behind anger, pain behind confidence. You hear what isn't being said. You feel what others are trying to hide. And that's when it hits you. Most interactions aren't between two souls at all, but between two masks, trying to stay comfortable. Once your soul awakens, those surface-level exchanges start to feel unbearable. It's not arrogance, it's truth. Your body begins to reject falseness the way the lungs reject smoke. The small talk, the pretending, the forced politeness, they all start to feel heavy. It's like trying to breathe in a windowless room. You crave air. You crave truth. You crave realness. And then something even deeper unfolds. You start to recognize your own shadow in others. The friend who always needs to be right, that was you once. The person who seeks endless validation, that's the version of you still learning to heal. The ones who trigger you the most are mirrors, reflecting the very parts of yourself that still wait to be integrated. Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." This is the secret weight of awakening. First, you think others are the problem. Then you realize you are just like them. And finally, you understand you still are, but now you're aware. That awareness changes everything. If this is connecting with you, tell me below, does this reflection feel true to your own journey? After every awakening comes a subtle trap, a place where the mind begins to whisper, "You're the awakened one now. You see what others can't." That quiet pride is the birth of what Carl Jung called the spiritual ego. It disguises itself as enlightenment, but it's only another mask, just more refined. The truth is, thinking you've risen above others only means you've built a higher wall. Real awakening isn't about being special. It's about becoming whole. Jung taught that true transformation is measured not by superiority, but by compassion. When you begin to see the pain behind people's behavior, judgment fades. You start to feel tenderness toward the very patterns you once despised in others and in yourself. The younger version of you needed those masks to survive. The people you now find asleep are still dreaming their necessary dreams. And in that understanding, healing begins. As your compassion deepens, something else awakens within the body itself. The heart feels wider, but the nervous system, your physical bridge between spirit and matter, starts to tremble under this new awareness. Because awakening isn't only psychological or spiritual, it's biological too. For most of your life, your body adapted to chaos and noise. You learned to read the room, to absorb tension, to hold peace for everyone else. Especially if you're an empath, you didn't just listen, you felt. You carried others' storms as if they were your own. And when awakening comes, that sensitivity amplifies. Suddenly you're noticing dissonance in voices, tension behind smiles, energy mismatches everywhere. Your body, still wired for old survival, doesn't yet know how to process this purity of awareness. So it reacts the only way it knows, by tightening, by fatiguing, by urging you to withdraw. It's not that you're broken. You're simply no longer numb. If these words resonate, tell me in the comments where you're watching this from. Because the fatigue you feel isn't a flaw, it's your nervous system, learning to breathe at the new altitude of your consciousness. When the waves of awakening finally begin to settle, something unexpected happens. You stop craving escape. You no longer need to isolate yourself from the world just to feel safe. Instead, you begin learning how to stand inside your truth without losing your peace. The exhaustion that once felt unbearable starts to soften into understanding. You realize it wasn't the world that drained you. It was your resistance to living in alignment with your soul. Carl Jung believed that integration, not separation, is the real goal of individuation. You're not meant to run away from the noise. You're meant to bring silence into it. Not to reject society, but to walk through it with awareness. When your inner world finds harmony, the outer world stops feeling like a battlefield. You begin to sense the quiet strength in your own presence. People may not understand you, but they feel your calm, and that calm becomes your language. You start connecting differently now. You speak slower, listen deeper, and value presence more than conversation. The relationships that once revolved around roles and needs begin to fade, while those rooted in truth start to grow naturally. This is the birth of what Jung called wholeness, when the conscious and the unconscious, the light and the shadow, finally shake hands within you. You notice that your emotions no longer control you, they guide you. The nervous system that once overreacted to every vibration now begins to find rhythm again. The sensitivity you once cursed becomes your gift, helping you read the unseen patterns of life. What used to exhaust you now informs you. What once felt like chaos now reveals its quiet order. If you've been feeling this shift in your own journey, let me know in the comments. Can you sense your balance returning? And if my words are echoing your truth, don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who might need it, because in the final movement of awakening, something even deeper begins. The return of your creative life force, your intuition, and the realization that your soul didn't wake up to escape this world. It woke up to transform it. When the dust of awakening finally settles, you begin to sense a new current rising from within, calm, steady, and full of quiet power. This is the return of your creative life force. The same energy that once hid beneath anxiety and confusion now starts to flow freely. You no longer seek meaning outside yourself. You start creating it from within. Carl Jung described this as the individuation process reaching completion, when the self and the soul become one. You are no longer chasing light or running from shadow. You've made peace with both. The fatigue, the solitude, the inner storms, they were all the breaking of the shell that once confined your being. Now, that shell is gone, and what remains is presence. You begin to notice beauty again, not the loud, dramatic kind, but the subtle one. The way sunlight touches the floor, the sound of breathing in silence, the warmth in a stranger's smile. Awareness transforms ordinary moments into sacred ones. You realize that life was never separate from spirit. It was spirit all along, disguised as the ordinary. Your intuition grows sharp, not because you predict the future, but because you finally trust yourself. You stop trying to control outcomes and start flowing with what unfolds. The soul's intelligence takes over where the mind once panicked. You no longer search for your path. You walk it step by step, guided by quiet knowing. And that's when you understand the real secret Jung hinted at. Awakening isn't an escape from life. It's an invitation back into it. You came here not to transcend the human experience, but to live it fully, consciously, tenderly, truthfully. If this journey has touched something within you, tell me in the comments. What part of this awakening speaks to your soul the most? And if you've felt this truth moving through you, you support this space with your energy. Like this video, share it with someone who needs light right now, and subscribe to SYC Soul so you never miss the next reflection that might meet you at the perfect time. Because your soul's awakening isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a life lived in truth, and that truth is what the world has been waiting for.